on the Cougars. Houston's defense forced 4 turnovers in the shutout against Vanderbilt. Cougars are 8-0 for the first time since the 2011 team. So for the first time since the 2011 team started the season at 12-0. Greg Ward Jr. obviously is Houston's standout quarterback. The Cougars are 14-2 all time with him as the quarterback. And as we mentioned, Greg Ward leads all FBS players with 16 rushing touchdowns this season. And we've been joined by Coach Tom Herman from Houston. The Cougars are 8-0 overall, 4-0 in the American Athletic Conference. Houston was in action this past Saturday against Vanderbilt. Houston won the game 34-0. Up next for the Cougars will be this Saturday against Cincinnati at TDECU Stadium. The game will be 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time start and will be televised on ESPN2. Coach, thank you for joining us on the call today. If you would take a minute to tie up the win against Vanderbilt, and then tell us what you expect to see Saturday as you take on Cincinnati at home, please.
Obviously anytime you shut a team out in today's college football, you probably played really good defense, and we did. We swarmed to the football. We created 4 turnovers and gave our offense some really short fields, which was critical in a game against Vanderbilt, one of the nation's top-ranked defenses in a lot of different categories. We were pretty nervous in terms of how we were going to move the football, especially since we were starting 2 true freshmen at offensive line, true freshmen that didn't get here till June, our center and our right guard, who just so happened to be a defensive lineman up until 3 weeks ago. So was really proud of the way that those young offensive linemen responded. Certainly didn't play perfect by any stretch, but they held their own in there against one of the nation's best defense, and was proud of them for that. And then obviously hats off to our defense for, shutting them out and really controlling that football game. And much different dynamic this week, obviously, with the high-powered offense that Cincinnati has, led by their quarterback and receivers. It's going to be a big test for our defense, and we would expect our offense, hopefully, in this one to kind of keep us in it, knowing that, although our goal is to shut every opponent out, that goal might be a bit unrealistic this week against such a high-powered offense as Cincinnati has.
We'll take questions for Coach Herman. Please hit *1 on your telephone to join the queue, and the operator will introduce you.
We'll go to Dan Tortora of Dan Tortora Broadcast Media.
Hi, Coach. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Dan. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for asking. Just going back to that 34-0 victory over an SEC opponent in Vanderbilt, just what it says about your program, and obviously, the Power 5 and the SEC are obviously looked at in a certain respect, and what the American is trying to do, just what you can say about the message that you kind of sent this past week.
Well, I think the message pretty much the whole year is that it is very apparent that the Power 5 designation is merely a legislative term. It has nothing to do with the level of competition. It merely means that those 5 conferences are allowed to set rules that and regulate certain things from a rule standpoint that we that aren't in the Power 5 can choose or not choose to adhere to. But from a on the field playing level, there's certainly not a whole lot of difference in when you're talking about the 3 or 4 top teams in our conference.
And then when you look at one of the teams that's in the conference and who you're going to be taking on, just what you can say about Cincinnati quarterback Gunnar Kiel, who's coming off of a pretty much perfect game, 15-15, 319 yards and 5 touchdowns. Just what you can say about, where he kind of stands in your mind right now.
Well, pretty much perfect. I think that is exactly perfect in terms of completion percentage. I remember guys still got a few nightmares every now and again. Gunnar Kiel came into the horseshoe last year and was throwing the ball all over the place too against us at Ohio State, and had firsthand experience of watching him play on a big stage there, and he's certainly continued to progress as he's gotten a year older, and in my opinion, he's one of the best in the country. And I believe at one point in his career, he was the number one quarterback recruit in the country coming out of high school. And there's a lot of evidence on video throughout the season as to why he was so highly regarded.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Dan Gresham.
Or maybe we won't.
Well, are you there, Coach?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
Okay, somehow, here we go. It's Tom Gresham from the Cincinnati Enquirer. You, born in Cincinnati, lived here, I believe, till the age of 6. I've read up a little bit about it. Could you speak a little bit about that, about your years here? Obviously, you were quite young then, and how you came to move, and I think you still have family here. Could you just maybe fill us in a little bit on some of that, please? Thanks.
Yeah. I've got a ton of family in Cincinnati. When I was 6, my mom and dad divorced when I was 1 year old, and my mom remarried when I was 5. And my stepdad's job took us out to Southern California. But my real dad, my grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, you name it, every single one of my extended family still lived in the greater Cincinnati area. So every summer, every Christmas, I would go back and spend time with my dad and hang out with my cousins and grandparents. And I had the luxury of growing up a Reds and Bengals fan in Southern California, which wasn't too popular. But a lot of my cousins and extended family are UC grads and have a very tight affiliation with the university. And so I consider Cincinnati my hometown, even though I grew up and went to high school in Simi Valley, California. Still consider Cincinnati kind of where my roots are, and where all my family is still living and working. My grandmother, in fact, is 84 years old, I believe now. Still goes to work Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, 9 to 5. As she's a seamstress for Pepe Raimundo and Sons over there on the west side by Western Hills High School, by the Frisches there on the west side. And so my whole family still is there and holds a special place in my heart. My grandma's coming out to the game, and she's supposed to be bringing me a bunch of Montgomery Inn ribs and Skyline chili.
Oh, she's coming down to Houston for the game this week?
She is, 84 years old. Absolutely, she is.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I do know the Pepe Raimundo. I'm a West Sider myself, so we could talk for another hour about that, but I'll let you go.
No question. I was born at Good Sam, and my parents met. They were in St. William's Parish there on the west side. My dad's buried at St. Joseph Cemetery there on West 8th Street. So yeah, we're all West Siders.